So we are going to do the impossible. We are going to graph a linear equation with only the slope and the y-intercept when we have been given a standard form equation. And you'll remember that standard form equation is ax plus by is equal to c. We are going to transform it into y equals mx plus b, where m is the slope. There's an L there, believe it or not. And b is the y-intercept. Now, you'll notice that the difference between standard form and slope-intercept form is this. Standard form has both variables on one side of the equation, and the number is by itself. In slope-intercept form, the y is by itself. Now, you'll also remember that in standard form you can't have fractions or decimals, and a must be positive. So, we have here 2x minus y is equal to negative 6. And we need to get the y by itself. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to subtract 2x from both sides. 2x minus 2x is 0, so the negative y gets dropped down. Negative 6 minus 2x is equal to negative 6 minus 2x. So we're almost done. We almost have the y by itself. Right now it has a negative sign next to it. So to get rid of that negative sign, what we're going to do is we're going to multiply everything by negative 1. Negative 1 times y is y. Negative 1 times 6 is positive 6. And negative 1 times negative 2x is 2x. So now I've successfully converted my standard form equation into a slope-intercept form equation, and it's time to graph. So I'm going to make my grids here really quickly, or maybe not quite so quickly. I'm going to make it a little thicker black, so it doesn't really matter where I put my grids. Anytime now. Let's try this again. There we go. There's my y-axis. Here's my x-axis. And so it is now time to graph. So my y-intercept is 6. So I'm going to count up 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And my slope is 2. Now that means that my slope, I've been having troubles with my pens all day. So it means that my slope is equal to 2 over 1. So that means I'm going to go up 2, 1, 2 to the right 1, up 2 to the right 1. Now I've gotten to the end of the edge of my graph, so I'm going to go backwards, down 2. Now obviously you can tell me that I don't have to continue in this way because I'm going to end up with a straight line, and you'd be accurate. So now I can connect the dots. You can obviously use a ruler. I'm going to use my line tool here. And so here's my line. And so I have now graphed y equals 2x plus 6 using the slope and y-intercept. So let's take a look at a slightly harder problem. Not much really. We have 4x minus 3y is equal to 12. And we want to graph this using the slope and y-intercept. So let's go ahead, make sure we understand the two sides of the equal sign, and let's get the y by itself. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to subtract the 4x, because the opposite of positive 4x is negative 4x. That's going to get my 0 on the left side. What I do to one side, I must do to the other. And so 4x minus 4x is 0. Don't need to write it. My negative 3y gets dropped down. Now I've noticed a lot of you seem to forget to drop the negative sign with it. That's going to end up giving you a wrong answer. Remember, the sign in front of the y has to come down too. 12 minus 4x, well, I can't take 4x away from 12 because they're not the same type of thing. This has x's, this does not. So I have 12 minus 4x. Well, I need to still get the y by itself. What's the opposite of multiplying y by negative 3? Because when you have a number next to a letter, it means multiply. So negative 3 times y, the opposite of that is going to be dividing y by negative 3. So I'm going to go ahead and divide y by negative 3, this side by negative 3. And I'll remember that what I do to one side, I have to do to the other. Now the trick here is you have to divide everything by negative 3. So I typically like to write it like this so that I'm reminding myself that the 12 gets divided by negative 3, the negative 4 gets divided by negative 3. So negative 3 y divided by 3, negative 3 rather, is just y. 12 divided by negative 3. Well, a positive divided by a negative is a negative. 12 divided by 3 is 4. Negative 4x divided by negative 3. A negative divided by a negative is a positive. So really, this is just going to end up being 4/3. I'm going to keep it as a fraction, and times x. Now, I realize up here, the negative 4 is being multiplied by the x. But I can write it like this, because negative 4 over 3 times x over 1 is equal to negative 4x over 1, right? So I can write the x right here. So now it's time to graph. So my y-intercept is negative 4. So here's 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. And my slope is 4/3. That is rise of 4, run of 3. So it's up 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, to the right 3, 1, 2, 3. Up 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Now, if I've done this correctly, and I certainly hope I have, I should be able to connect all of the dots and end up with a straight line. And look at that, it does. Now, the one thing I did neglect to do in the other problem, and I should do in this one as well, is this. Lines go on forever, so I should indicate that by putting an arrow. Maybe tomorrow will be a better day with this thing. Have a little arrow showing that it goes on forever. And I'll do that for this line as well. Last thing I really want to do is spend my life drawing a line that goes on forever. So there you have it. That is how to graph a standard form equation just by using the slope and y-intercept.